This was just a simple game, but the stakes were high, your ears were on the line. If you lost a round, the needle would get closer and closer to your eardrum. But if you won, you'd get a reward of $10 million. The rules of the game were simple. Each player would receive 5 cards every round, which included the national card, civilian card, and slave card. The national card beats the civilian card beats the slave card, and the slave card beats the national card. Kaiji immediately joined the game, but several rounds had already passed, and Kaiji was losing every time. The needle was dangerously close to piercing his eardrum. At this moment, Kaiji suddenly realized that his opponent was cheating. The opponent kept glancing at his watch. That was the tool for the cheat. Tonegawa had been looking at the watch during the game. It turned out that the device on Kaiji's ear was a signal transmitter, allowing Tonegawa to accurately measure Kaiji's blood pressure, heart rate, and body temperature. By comparing these readings, Tonegawa could guess the cards Kaiji had drawn, but Kaiji couldn't directly expose Tonegawa's cheating, or he'd just deny it, and Kaiji wouldn't have the credibility to prove it. He needed to come up with an effective plan, something that would surely beat Tonegawa. Kaiji was willing to bet everything he had, and with only 18 millimeters of safety left on the device on his ear, he decided to bet 18 millimeters in the next round. If he lost again, the needle would pierce his ear. This decision shocked everyone in the room, but the president of the organization was ecstatic. The game was about to begin. The next moment, Kaiji stood up and said he needed to go to the restroom. Since he had to be reborn in adversity, he had to use a special method. Soon, another man entered the restroom. It was Kaiji's companion. Kaiji was happy and asked for his friend's help. He then covered his ear with a towel and came out. Meanwhile, Tonegawa, who was still seated, realized that Kaiji had seen through his cheating, but Tonegawa wasn't worried at all. The device on Kaiji's ear couldn't be removed. Once it was attached, it stuck to his ear, and if Kaiji tried to forcibly remove it, the remote control would immediately sound an alarm. So Tonegawa thought Kaiji's actions were futile. Kaiji angrily approached Tonegawa and vowed to make him pay. Tonegawa remained silent, while the old president, watching from behind, became even more excited. He ordered Tonegawa to win this round, eager to see Kaiji die when the needle pierced his eardrum. With a sinister smile on his face, the round began. Tonegawa casually played a card, and Kaiji followed suit. This time both players had drawn civilian cards. It seemed they were just testing each other. Then it was Kaiji's turn. He thought for a moment, then placed a card face down on the table. Tonegawa, no longer hiding, watched the watch openly. But this time, he noticed that Kaiji's blood pressure hadn't changed. He thought the device had malfunctioned, so he could only rely on temperature and pulse to judge, and saw no major fluctuations. He concluded that Kaiji had played a civilian card, because if Kaiji had played the crucial slave card, he would have been much more excited. To play it safe, Tonegawa pretended to show Kaiji his own civilian card, hoping to gauge Kaiji's reaction. Kaiji appeared shocked, but his readings didn't change. Tonegawa thought Kaiji was just acting, so he confidently played the national card. When he saw Kaiji's surprised expression, Tonegawa assumed Kaiji had played the civilian card. Without waiting for the reveal, he added length to the remote control. What Tonegawa didn't expect was that his arrogance would cost him dearly. Kaiji had played the slave card. Tonegawa stared at the watch in disbelief. Then he noticed the blood oozing from Kaiji's ear. He seemed to understand everything, and immediately ordered his bodyguards to check the restroom. He walked up to Kaiji and ripped his hand off the table. It was absolutely unbelievable. At that moment,